Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PlotCast. I'm your host, Nate Slater.
And I'm Chris Sandbrook, and today we will be breaking down Superman.
All right, so folks, how this is going to go, we're going to give you our initial rating of the film, and then we're going to discuss about this a little bit, and then by the end, we're going to give our final review. It could change, it could stay the same, but you guys are just going to have to find out. So I'm going to start coming off of the film. I thought the film was great, and all around, I thought everybody did a great job. I had nothing bad to say about any of the actors or their acting. Some characters I didn't like as much as others, but we'll get into that later. So, as of right now, coming out of the film, my initial review, I give it an 8. I thought it was really good. I thought it had a lot of action. The pacing was really spot on there. It was really good. Characters, most of them had their moments, and we got a quick rundown of pretty much everybody that we needed to, or the situation rather, right at the beginning of the movie. So I thought that kind of helped get the ball rolling without really fully needing a origin story. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, no, I first of all glad there was no origin story. The origin story was literally text within the first minute of the movie. And I'm glad they just got that out of the way. They were just like, let's Star Wars style this thing and just move into the actual what's happening. But yeah, so my initial rating was also an 8. I was so glad that, with it being the somewhat reboot, obviously it somewhat also continues from the DCEU, which we will discuss a little more later on. But it's more or less a reboot. I was a little worried about how they were going to be setting it up, but they just kind of dove right into it. And they didn't just dive into it and was like, hey, but yeah, well, all we've got is Superman being a Superman movie. They were like, oh yeah, by the way, Green Lantern's a thing, and Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific, they're a thing. Um, so they were Superman wasn't the only one who's already established. It felt kind of like the first episode of Invincible, right? We've
Yeah.
already established that we've got this full load of heroes and there could be more out there, but we're just dealing with Metropolis here.
Yeah.
Which was great. So yeah, I felt it was very comic booky. I felt like it was like a live action version of the Superman animated show. It had that vibe. So just coming off of the movie, you felt it, and you were like, it left you with a good feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I enjoyed it. Honestly, I don't think my rating's really gonna go down. If anything, it might go up.
Oh,
But yeah, let's get into it.
well, what is your rating?
Uh, I give it an 8.
Okay.
I
So
give it
we're
an
we're
8, Nate.
as a thank you. As of right now, we're on the same page as it being an 8. Now, like we said earlier, we're going to discuss the movie a bit. First of all, spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, like I said, what are you doing with your life? It's really good. Go see it. Don't take our words for it.
Yeah.
And
But hey, if you don't plan to go see the movie, then take our word for it and enjoy the podcast with full spoilers,
yeah,
knowing that you're just going to get. I mean, you might as well watch the movie. Our discussion is going to be about as long.
hopefully not. But yes, it's worth a watch. Even if you don't want to go to the theater, just wait until it comes out on, you know, the internet
HBO
or
Max.
HBO
Yeah,
Max.
it
Yeah,
should be.
HBO Max streaming. Wherever you can get it and just watch it, or go to a friend's house and watch it. But it's worth a watch. That's for sure. So
Yeah, it's one of those things that, I know that there's the constant battle between Marvel and DC, and some people are like, well, I only watch Marvel. I didn't like the DCU and this, that, and the other. And it's like, all right, well, when it comes out, if you can watch it at a friend's house, it's worth the watch. We're not trying to change minds, change hearts. It's the Coke versus Pepsi thing. Like, we're not here to tell you how you have to live your life, but you should probably watch it. And if there's a chance that you can watch it for free, do it.
Do it. But yes, so you got our initial reviews. Now let's discuss the film. Like we said, the film, basically starts off with, a quick overview of the past 30 years in this universe, just skipping the whole origin story so we can just get into the action at the moment. And in the moment, Superman just got beat for the first time in his life. And, coming off of the fact that we haven't seen his past, wins, we don't know what to expect or who just beat him. And then by the time we do see who beat him, he's some weird looking dude in like kind of look like a Hurt Locker suit or something out of what was it? Call of Duty.
Oh,
Wait,
Juggernaut.
yeah, a
Yeah, the
juggernaut suit.
Juggernaut.
I'm like, what the
Yeah,
heck
fully
is this?
metallic Juggernaut suit. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
and we don't really know anything, who this guy is, but we just know Superman got beat. He's in the middle of, you know, the snow, God knows where. But if you know Superman, he's probably close to the Fortress of Solitude, which, guess what? He is. And he's beat up so badly, he needs help. And for the first time in live action, we see Crypto, the super dog.
Oh, not the
And
currency.
no, not the currency. I don't. In reality, you can't really see
Flash
cryptocurrency.
drive.
Yeah, but that's a flash drive. It's not tangible. Okay. Anyway, so yes, we meet Crypto, and the dog is bonkers. It's the dog that probably just snorted a line of
Yeah.
uh, you know where I'm going, but
Back to that Coke or Pepsi line we had.
yeah. Which
Um,
which does the dog prefer? You guys can probably take a guess.
yeah, so it was, I mean, obviously the majority of seeing Crypto, he is CGI. That is very
Yeah.
obvious from just the sheer power and what he can do as far as abilities that a regular dog can't do. So I mean, it would be interesting to see the side by side like footage of when they show behind the scenes of what was a actual live action dog doing this, that, or the other versus, what scenes they really, you know,
Yeah.
had to go full CG for. But yeah, no, I mean, he looked great. He for CGI for the most part, it looked fantastic. Didn't really draw you out of the movie. In fact, it also again gave you that kind of cartoony feel, which was very welcome. Um, but yeah, the second you see him, he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's very much just bouncing off the walls, almost quite literally. Um, and Superman is beat to hell, and he needs help, and the dog is not helping.
Very difficult dog.
Yeah,
Uh, and
but I think anyone who saw the trailer and previews, it's more or less in that trailer or previews. That's what most of us saw before even going to see the movie. So it's available. You can kind of check it out. But yeah, no, he drags him to the Fortress of Solitude, and that's where we get to see kind of how this universe's Superman has his home base set up, his own Bat Cave, which is very bright, very colorful, but also it's filled with Alan Tudyk.
yes, which we all love a little Alan Tudyk.
You know what? He is most movies' luck totem. I know he's like literally Disney reaches out to him and gives him small, minute roles just because they see him as a lucky totem. If we have him in this movie, he's gonna it's gonna succeed. Like if you weren't aware, he played a little chicken in Moana.
I
He
didn't
just
know
clucks. He got
that.
paid to cluck.
Well,
Um,
like I said, everybody needs a little Tudyk.
yep, exactly. A little too dick. Um, but yeah, he plays Superman robot. And he's a robot in just about everything now, from
Yeah,
Star Wars, starting at iRobot to Star Wars. You can't beat it. He's, I guess, the perfect cold calculated voice.
for those kind of roles. But you meet them, and then right away they're trying to heal Superman. They throw him onto like the chair so he can put in the direct alignment with the sun, and it's pretty cool because they have like the little, what was it, micro what are they called? Not micro. I can't think of the word. Magnifying glass. There we go. They have like this weird like my wow. I keep
Magnifying glass.
magnifying glass. This is a word, people.
Yeah,
This is a word.
crystals. Yeah,
Yes,
using the crystals
yes.
to magnify
Magnify
the sun
sunlight to
within
heal them.
a very specific dose.
And if I
Um,
remember correctly, at that point in the movie, they talk about, oh, we want to show him his parents. It soothes him, and then they
yes,
play the recording of his
yeah,
parents.
it was.
And
Yeah, I will say that when they inserted the exposition, it wasn't just shoved down your throat. They kind of give those one liners of an explanation why we're doing this, because there's nothing worse than they just start playing it and you're like, wow, why would he want to see this? Give us a quick explanation, quick one line, and it saves questions.
yeah,
It saves people going, why.
I mean, but it's also a plot point too because it's showing, this Superman does what he does, because of the message that his parents left him.
Which Bradley Cooper, by the way,
Yeah.
that was a sharp choice. I did not see that coming.
Me neither. I didn't either, and I don't know who the woman who was playing his
Yeah. So
mother.
his mother, I'm familiar with her. She was in Westworld. She played one of the robots, which was awesome. If you
Okay.
ever get a chance, it was written by Jonathan Nolan.
Ooh.
Yep,
Okay.
Jonathan Nolan production. There are 4 seasons, I want to say.
Okay.
Each season is very different, but yes, there's a recommendation. All right, moving on. Um, yeah, so he sees his
Parents.
parents. It soothes him. He's being healed, but the sun doesn't just directly heal him. That would be so OP. So they do mention, he's still very much injured, needs time to heal as
Yeah,
well.
they said I think it was like 83%, healed, and for him that was enough. He wanted to get back out there because he's Superman. He cares about the world, he cares about the people. You know, this is his calling. His calling is to save
Yeah,
and serve and protect basically.
right. And I think that's kind of like the big difference than what we've been seeing is, you know, lately they've been like, oh, Superman's just cool. We're just gonna go with Mr. Cool, Mr. Punch Your Lights Out. But
Now
now
that
they've
is cool though.
it
That
is
is
it is
cool.
cool, but it's also nice to see someone who, first wants to be diplomatic, and then second wants to just get everyone safe first, and then third wants to punch their lights out.
Yeah.
So
Which
yeah.
which is the other thing that I like about this movie is that it shows, you know, Kal-El he's an alien. He is from Krypton, but he has adopted Earth as his home, and he shows a lot of human traits and a lot of human
Right.
frustrations and stuff like that. He's very humanized, and it's just done so well in this film. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I think the one great thing is like when we were watching Henry Cavill, which don't get me wrong, I enjoyed those movies to
Mm-hmm.
a degree. Some
Yeah.
of the writing was awful.
Some of the movies weren't that good.
Yeah, but as far as the way he portrayed him was still, it was very cool, and it was great for what was needed at the time. But this, when when the new Superman walks in, he doesn't just walk in and start throwing punches. He walks in and he becomes a strategist. He looks to what needs to be done first. Who needs to be removed from the situation? Who could get hurt? And then, how do I do it while defending? And then when I know it's clear, I can start fighting and I can start really, putting my power into focus.
And I will say this about the design of, Corn Sweat Superman as opposed to Cavill Superman. When you see Cavill, when you put them side by side, yes, one looks more streamlined, buff, whatever, and the other one looks more
Yeah,
campy,
well, only
closer
one of
to,
them had a muscle suit.
yeah, Christopher, more like Christopher Reeves, which is what you could tell they're really going with. Was with
Yeah.
the new one is very reminiscent of the '70s Superman, and they even have the theme in there. But you can see the differences. For me, Henry Cavill actually looked like a menace. He looked kind of scary as Superman.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
he
to an
looked he looked
extent for sure.
he,
Especially when you took those scenes where he went to foreign countries and, to them how menacing he would have looked.
yeah,
Because he's not there to protect them. He's there to tell them to stop doing what you're doing,
yeah.
kind of thing.
And,
Um,
if you put Henry Cavill Superman in this movie, it would look a lot different in my opinion. But if like
yeah,
how we got here, we got more of a everyman kind of Superman as opposed to a jock Superman, I guess you want to call it.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even call him a jock Superman. I mean, from just Man of Steel, the first movie, he's also very much a loner,
Yeah.
eh, I mean, yeah, that doesn't mean he couldn't have been a jock in high school, but uh he seems detached from humanity
Yeah.
in the Man of Steel and the whole DCU of past.
Well, I feel what I'm trying to say, I think jock came off a little wrong there. I want to
Right,
say he
but no,
feels
yeah,
more like a Spartan type character,
yeah, well,
very
there are
brooding.
connections.
Yeah. He just kind of like has that kind of rugged, like, don't fuck with me kind of look as compared to this Superman, which I feel relates more to like if you watch the old 1930s Superman shows and stuff, he looks just kind of plain in a way.
Yeah.
And so did Christopher Reeves, which going back to what I said earlier, Orange Sweat's Superman kind of embodies that as well.
But yeah, so this Superman, he does lose his fight. Um, and we very quickly find out the Lex Luthor's behind it, as if you were going to guess anyone else. Um, this Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, who a lot of people may know from X-Men First Class as Beast. Obviously, he's
Skins.
not returning. Yeah, Skins was a good show.
Hmm.
I think he started off in a movie called About a Boy, which I enjoyed as a kid too. But yeah, no, he was in Marvel. He kind of was booted out of Marvel. They are going in favor of the Kelsey Grammer Beast going
Yeah, the
forward.
OG.
So yeah, which it's down to the lack of development. They had Nicholas Hoult all that time, and they chose not to really do anything with him other than, he's their medic.
Yeah, and
That's about it,
sappy love story,
which
you
didn't
know.
really go anywhere too. So
Yeah, it is what it is.
uh, but yeah, I feel for him in that aspect. He wanted to go further there. They said no, so he reached out. He actually he auditioned
Audition.
for Superman.
Yep.
He didn't. I mean, he doesn't really fit Superman, unfortunately.
I
I
mean, I don't see it either, but then again, look at it this way. Jason Momoa originally tried out for I think he said he tried out for Batman or Superman. He tried out for one of the two. He's like, "Why am I trying out for this? I'm not gonna get it." and then they
Right.
offered him Aquaman. So I think he worked as Aquaman, but for that version. But anyway, can't wait to see him as Lobo in this
Yeah.
new DC
Well, let's
universe.
see how long it takes to even get there. Because
Apparently, he's gonna be in the Supergirl movie, which
oh,
we'll talk
they
about more
they're
about.
kicking out fast.
Yeah,
I know
well,
I know that as soon as this movie dropped, they were like, "Oh, by the way, we have 6 other projects.
yeah,
Here's what we're working on." But yeah, so him as Lex Luthor, I mean, he's a great actor first and foremost.
yeah,
So I doubt that there wouldn't be a role in this movie that he wouldn't, excel at.
yeah,
He definitely put his all into it, regardless of who he's playing. But yes, Lex Luthor, you could tell he was kind of giving it more of a Elon Musk vibe.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it worked for his whole goal was to tear down Superman, and in this movie, he really did. Um, and it was just all about being the opposite of what this Superman is,
yeah,
and it was all just coming from a anger, um, a
jealousy.
uh, of sorts for sure. And he was just pushing on the whole "you're an alien" thing. That there was a discrimination just based on what Superman is, as opposed to
Yeah.
who he is.
Which
He
in
didn't.
reality, it's his excuse for the fact that, Lex Luthor. Really, come on, it's because Lex Luthor doesn't have these powers. That's why, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, for sure. And there's
yeah,
plenty of time to further develop him. Obviously, this is not going to be the last we see of Lex Luthor.
of course not.
Um, Also, for those super nerds, yes, it's not LexCorp anymore; it's Luthor Corp, which
Ooh,
makes sense. As James Gunn himself said, most people don't name their business after their first name. It's usually a last name that they name their business after. So, yeah, it works. But yeah, so uh, Luthor Corp in this movie has a large stake in the U.S. government, and he's pushing for taking over the defense of the US and wanting to put Superman in his place. um, that's where we introduce some more characters. We get to see Rick Flag Sr., um, portrayed by Frank Grillo, which I believe we're going to see a lot more of.
yeah.
To what degree we don't know until we see it, but
Well,
you know,
just sorry to cut you off, but for some more context, if you guys technically this isn't the first, you know, DCU kind of like element
role.
that's out role that's out. We got before this we got Creature Commandos, which is an
Oh
animated
yeah,
show on HBO Max or Max, whatever you want to call it now. And he also plays, the same
yes,
character in the show. And James Gunn has gone on record saying that if a character or an actor plays something in one project, they're that character in all projects. So if you're an
assuming
animated,
they're available.
yeah, if they're animated, they will play them in live action if possible. So that's what they're doing here. And obviously, Peacemaker is also tied into this, but that's a story for another time. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue. I'm sorry for cutting
yeah.
you off.
So let's see. We also get into Lois Lane. He kind of
Hmm.
has a unofficial first interview during a date. She immediately we learned that she knows. She's already um, figured out, or he straight up told her. They kind of gave us a explanation behind the whole glasses disguise, his hypno glasses. Um, it's something that while he's wearing it, people absolutely can't see through this disguise. Um, it's some kind of telepathic
Yeah.
device, if you will.
And to be clear, this isn't their first date. They've been dating a while. I'm just
Right.
trying to clear the air there. So this is
Yeah,
just
this was the first unofficial interview that he
yes,
gives her, and he does start to show again how human he is,
yes,
which I
which I
think
think
is
is
kind of
great.
an ongoing theme, right? It is everyone keeps downing him for Superman for being an alien, yet every time we see him try and try, it's because of how human he is.
Yes,
And I mean, we get to see his parents. They decided to go with the most normal of normal people to play them,
which
which
is
is great.
perfect. Eh,
Yeah.
so
Uh,
good.
and, you know, it's just, um, it's nice and refreshing to see that he's just some hick boy from some hick town who happened to have been born from aliens. But he grew up here, and ever since he started using his powers to help people, people have been downing him. It's kind of nuts, but it's also the world we live in. You know, it's social commentary at its finest.
I mean, it goes back to kind of what I said about Lex Luthor. It's like he, in a way, they're jealous because why don't they have this power? Why can't they do what he does?
Yeah.
Why does this alien have the power and not me?
Yeah,
That's
as far
it,
as we know, Lex Luthor has always had money. So
yeah,
he's under the mentality of, you know, I should be able to have everything.
yeah, and he
I've
can't.
lived with everything. I've gotten everything I wanted whenever I wanted my whole life, and now there's something I don't have, so I'll build it.
Yeah, and it doesn't always go as planned. But
Yep.
yeah. So going back to the whole interview, you
Yeah,
know,
so the interview, you know, he kind of shows his human side. They start to argue just from, you know, different points of view, which is nice to see. You know, he's struggling with the whole um you know, seeing things from a superhero side, just trying to help people, and she's seeing things from a legal side. You know, well, you can't just do that. There are steps. And yeah, but if I follow the steps, then the people that need help won't get the help they need. You know, and it's just, again, an ongoing social commentary that really kind of, you know, just makes you think,
yeah,
and it's nice to have. You know, it's not necessarily shoved down your throat as like a major theme throughout the entire movie. It's just a, you know, here's a quick little conversation to show you the kind of problems that he's dealing with. But
yeah.
of course, it gets a little bit heated, and they end that interview and the date.
Which is cool too because it shows that like they're just like us.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And you know, it's nice. And then of course you see them at work working together. You get to see Jimmy Olsen, and
Yep, which is the goat.
yeah, the goat in this movie for sure. He's our comic relief, as he kind of always has been. Um,
Yeah,
and you know, again, this cast is everyone who was chosen to be in this movie. I can't really see any problems with anyone. Um, it's so much fun, and they do such a good job.
yeah,
Now, obviously, it's one of those things that we're like, okay, well, how long will Warner Brothers let James Gunn have full creative control? You know, maybe
true.
we will start to see it fall apart with, you know, more hands on, you know, whether other producers come in, other directors start taking projects and going different routes. We'll see. But for now, I think this is a great setup, and this movie kind of shows that there is a vision,
Yeah,
and the vision is to really ground it in the comics. And when you ground it in the comics, you're allowed to pull anything from the comics.
yeah,
You know, that there's really that one of the big issues when Marvel was releasing Guardians of the Galaxy was that people were like, oh yeah, but it's got a talking raccoon,
yeah,
you know, a sentient tree. People did not think it was going to succeed. Marvel didn't think it was going to succeed, and James Gunn just has that magic of bringing things that seem ridiculous, but giving them a realistic approach and still being silly. It's
yeah,
still, you know, grounding it in comedy to, you know, push through some more difficult things.
Yeah.
He's very good at that, and I think this approach for the entire DCU will be it. It's off to a good start at the very least. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to make predictions and say it's going to be amazing through and through. Uh, I have no doubt there will be some crap movies or
Yeah.
TV shows.
Of
I
course.
and I really hope they don't do the Disney thing where they're like, "Oh, you need to watch all these TV shows, and you have to do your homework before you can watch the next movie."
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's gonna be a little bit of that, but I don't think DC is gonna go too heavy on it.
I hope not. But they also do want people to subscribe to HBO Max, so
That's true. They need to give them, something to watch.
yeah,
I mean, somewhere else.
yeah. Game of Thrones isn't it's not that consistent. They need more.
They need more money. But
Um,
continuing on anyway,
yeah,
as things kind of escalate, a little bit before this, going back to the whole fight with the Hammer of Baravia, which is who Superman was fighting at the time that he lost his first battle to. Um, we kind of see some other people in Lex's like kind of on his payroll other than the Hammer of Baravia. I can't remember what the
the
girl's name was.
engineer.
The engineer. She finds, Superman's base, and she's like, "What is this? It's there's this thing here. It's his base. I found it. The Fortress of Solitude. They don't call it that because she doesn't know what it is. But then it disappears. Collapses into the snow, and then Lex gets there. They meet up. They somehow open it, and then they end up taking out all the Superman robots, taking down Crypto, and finding the message. They analyze the message, find out that it's damaged, which Clark already knew. We already know as people that it's been damaged, but now the engineer reverse engineers the message and decodes the whole thing and finds out that basically Superman was there to take over the planet. Um,
Kind of
kind of like
spread
just
his seed.
more or less assimilate the planet rather
Yeah,
than. I guess it's still a takeover if you think about it.
to an extent. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean they still say be its protector and
yeah,
whatnot, but
because
it's
it's gonna be
more.
for their
Yeah,
race.
yeah, it's more about for them it was more about continuing the Kryptonian legacy.
Yeah,
um not necessarily um taking over the world and going out on a galactic conquest or anything, but
yeah,
yeah, it being released immediately on TV is what
yeah,
that's how Superman himself finds out.
yeah, and
And at
even
first, you, even as the viewer, don't even know if that's true. You know,
correct.
uh, Superman's learning it for the first time. We're learning it for the first time. And we're like, holy crap, maybe this is just, AI
Doctored.
or something like that. Yeah. And because it was Lex who's in control of it. But yes, he does go to see Lex immediately.
Yeah, and
Um,
and sure enough, that was all the fuel that Lex needed to start burning Superman down.
yep. Yeah, that's where he gets approval to apprehend him. However, he imprisons him in a pocket universe, which becomes a
Yes.
much bigger problem. But that's
Well,
where we get introduced to Metamorpho, played by Anthony Kerrigan, who is a great actor. Love
awesome.
his work. Um, but yeah, he Metamorpho is able to morph portions of his body to create minerals and elements, and thus he creates kryptonite.
Yes.
That being said, that holds Superman where he needs to. We learn pretty much immediately, though, that the reason he is doing this, as right across the way in this prison, his child is being held against him.
Yeah.
Uh, so obviously, we all know that's going to come into play. Uh, and yeah, no, Superman obviously tries to be as diplomatic as possible at first. He allows himself to be taken, even though he could have plowed through everyone there. Although, the Hammer of Baravia was also still there.
Yeah.
Um, as one of the US's enforcers now
Yeah,
that Lex is in control.
which we did not know, but Ultraman is actually the person who is playing the Hammer of Bravia, which Ultraman works for Lex, but he was in disguise as the Hammer of Bravia because Lex is secretly trying to weasel his way into getting his own kind of country, I guess you could say. But uh, while Superman's in prison, he needs to get out of there. He has trouble breaking free, which earlier we find out we are introduced to um, the Justice. What do they call themselves?
I think they have a bunch of names. It was Justice Society. He just keeps kind of changing it up. But
The
yes,
Justice Squad or something. I can't
yeah,
remember. It's been about 2-3 weeks since we've seen this, folks. But um, while they're infiltrating the Fortress of Solitude, they had to come up with a distraction. So they grabbed this little harmless looking like dog lizard type creature and let it go wild and just eat whatever it can. And while it eats, it doubles in size until it's the size of a skyscraper. So Superman has to deal with that, and he can't do it by himself. So the I want to
Squad.
remember
Yeah.
Justice Squad or whatever show
So
up,
yeah, so
which can
we have Nathan Fillion as Green
yes,
Lantern, Guy Gardner specifically,
yes,
um, and Isabel. What, what's her name? Isabel Merced
Marced, yeah,
as Hawk Girl. Those who have watched the second season of um, Last
The
of
Last of
Us
Us,
would know her as a new main cast. Um, what was the name of the character she plays?
Dina,
Dina. There we go.
yeah,
We also see Mr. Terrific, who, gosh, he steals the show.
he does, and uh, like Fox did him wrong when they killed him off in the first
X-Men First
X-Men
Class.
movie. In
Yeah.
fact, they even said they were gonna bring him back, and they never did. And I feel for him, but this is definitely his redemption as an actor. You know, he
Yeah. And
basically is
he,
alongside like the main hero alongside Superman in this one.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. And what's great about it is I mean, he kind of falls along the power structure or a superhero archetype as Tony Stark. You know, he's just super smart and wealthy.
yeah,
And as a result, his main tools are drones. And you would
yeah,
think very little of it. But when you see him in action, when he goes to bust Superman out of the prison and just takes on damn near an army by himself, it is very satisfying.
yeah.
All the while protecting Lois Lane. And we
Yep.
get to see it from kind of her point of view and all the people just flying around on screen. It's not just cool, it's hilarious. It's a new perspective and you didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
Uh
it's totally James Gunn. You could
yeah,
tell he would only be the only one to think of that kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's satisfying to watch someone do that. And then from that point on you have a deep respect for his character.
Yes.
And he is very key for a lot of it from there on. I definitely thought going into it that Green Lantern was going to be the big thing,
Yeah.
and well, yeah, he is the Green Lantern, and we get to enjoy seeing him in action. His character's a bit of a dick.
Well, yeah, he kind of sees himself as kind of the leader of the Justice Gang. That's what they call
Yeah,
themselves. They don't the other two members they really don't think they don't like that name, but he's like, no, Justice Gang, yeah, you know, but they just go with it because in a sense they don't really care. He
yes,
Guy
yeah,
Gardner
exactly.
cares, and
Yeah, Guy Gardner, he just wants to be center attention, which is so
yeah,
funny, being that he was not much of attention in the movie. Like he wasn't a focus,
Yeah.
which I definitely thought he was going to be.
Well,
Um,
same here. And I will say, like I said, I love everybody in this movie. I think they all brought what everything they had to the table. They all did a great job. As a character in the movie, though, he was my least favorite. I really didn't care for him, but
yeah,
I felt like Nathan Fillion did his job and he did it well. He
yeah,
he he
he's
wanted to
very
be.
much the Joffrey-esque character, right?
Yeah.
He was successful at making you hate him,
Yeah, he I
even
was
though he
gonna
was a
say,
good guy. Even
yeah. He just whenever he was on screen after the first, like, couple times I saw him, like, "All right, shut this guy up."
right.
But
And
that's
the
the
best
point,
part
that's the
was
point.
is that the other characters felt the same way, and you
Yeah,
could tell they visibly felt the pain of being around him.
yeah,
So it was entertaining enough. Um, so one thing that we haven't really discussed is that another subplot which has to do with the Daily Planet, where we have the other characters trying to kind of figure out what Lex is up to.
yeah.
Um, so we've got Jimmy, we've got their boss. I think there was a group of what, like six of them.
Yeah, all working together to try and bring down Lex. And
Yeah,
it's cool though because you got Superman doing the superhero thing with the Justice Gang, and then you got Lois, a reporter, doing what she can to, you know, not defame him, or would it still be called defame? Yeah, I guess defame him for the right causes to like show
yeah.
the world, this is who this guy really is. This is who you guys think is like good. He's not good at all. He's
Yeah, Lois Lane has always been the muckraker of that universe. She, digs deep down in the dirt to find, what is up with. I mean, that's kind of always been a subplot, right? The human side, the human discovery side, where it's not always about the superheroes and their power. It's about what we can do as
yeah,
people. Um, so yeah, no, she and Jimmy
Jimmy.
Olsen. Jimmy was great. Jimmy has an inside connection, and that's when
Jimmy's
you
a
start to
player.
learn. Yeah, he's a player. He used to hook up with Lex Luthor's girlfriend, so that's a
Well,
thing.
not used to. He was.
Oh yeah, um, and yeah, it's just really fun to watch Skylar Gisondo in that role, playing him the way that he did. It's definitely something you can see going forward, that he's just always going to be, some form of comic relief. He's always going to be there, and we're always going to have fun when we see him.
Yeah, which is good because a lot of these, if you think about it, a lot of like the normal human characters really become the background characters in this whole Superman kind of, superhero universes. And, they did a really good job in this film making sure even the humans were important. They all had
Yes,
a role to play in, either being, whether it be for the villains or for the heroes, they all were able to stand tall against the gods, I guess you
right,
want to call it,
right, and I think that's kind of what makes Lex Luthor such a great villain, is that he's standing alone against a god. He's not of I guess he's one of those characters that he's very complex. While
Complex
he
Lex.
Yeah, complex Lex. While he isn't necessarily doing it for all the good reasons, he does have good points.
Yes.
Even Superman, when Lex is going nuts on him and just yelling at him, explaining why, while he does come off as childish, he's also making good points.
Yeah.
Uh, if Superman were to just do whatever he wanted, and if he was bad natured, who would stop him?
No one.
So,
I mean,
maybe Guy
yeah.
Gardner.
Yeah. He'd flick him off a few times.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but that was the other thing I did like about Lex is that, he also knew Superman's limits as part of he does know that Superman, even though says, "No, you could do this, you could do that, you could kill us all," but he also does also. I said also does also. Who says that? Not Lex Luthor, but I'm getting a little excited here. But folks, what I'm trying to say is that Lex knows that deep down in his heart, as much as he doesn't want to, Superman is good, and that irks him to the point to where his jealousy shows by trying to project this evilness onto him, although he knows how good Superman is, that Superman won't kill Lex because, or at least for deep down inside, he hopes he doesn't kill him.
Yeah. I think
Because
Lex's thing is like, if there was no Superman, if there were no superheroes in general, Lex would get bored, you know?
yeah,
He would conquer all, with that big brain of his, and that would be that. Superman gives him something to strive for because what he really wants is to hold that power, not necessarily hone that power or have that power in his hands, but more of a social power, power over
mhm,
people. But he wants to be able to do everything that Superman does, basically replace him, whether it be with an army or this, that, or the other. But he wants to know that he can beat Superman. And if he can beat Superman, he can replace Superman and he can be the face of Superman, the replacement, the guy that the world goes to whenever there's a earth-wide threat.
yeah. I mean, I guess what I was trying to say is that during the movie, I almost felt like even Lex wasn't convinced 100% that Superman was what he was making him out to be, because if he was, Lex would have been killed. Like
Yeah.
Superman wouldn't have cared. It would have been like, "Oh, I really am this powerful. You know what? We don't need you, Lex." You could have just killed him, got rid of him. But Lex deep down knows that what Superman is saying is true. He is more human than what Lex makes him out to be, and I think that also is what makes Lex mad.
Yeah, yeah, because he's right. Because Superman is right and Lex is wrong about his own feelings.
Yes,
Yeah.
and but
It does show too.
I
Yeah.
will say I do love how smug Lex was when Superman like first came in, messed up his office, and he's just there holding his cup of coffee, like
Yeah.
okay, because
Yeah,
Superman
it's
in
like
that
he was
moment,
daring him. He's like, "Go ahead, hurt me. See what
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
See the
because
world turn against you."
yeah, because he was just there like he's like, I'm watching you right now act like a child, Superman. But the thing that's funny is how that gets reversed back onto Lex at the end of the movie. Lex starts acting like the child.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Like that's one reason why I really like this movie. You got to see all sides
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
everything.
and that's why I say it's a good start to the DCU.
Yes.
And I hope that they kind of keep that momentum going. And again, I also hope that they keep building good human characters too.
Yeah.
Obviously, Batman is probably one of the obvious ones. When you get to Batman, it's like, well, he is human, so there's
Hmm.
no biggie there. But I know that they're going to be working on Wonder Woman, the Lanterns. Again, the Lanterns are human too. Um, Wonder
Well, some
Woman,
of
I
them are
guess.
aliens.
Yeah, yeah, but the Lanterns they're focusing on in this
Yeah.
show are human. Um, but in general, are they going to be doing Martian Manhunter? I haven't seen anything for him yet.
I don't know. I know as far as what's going on at the moment, they have a Green Lantern show coming out. Supergirl is going to be the next movie up.
The
What?
next show that we see is going to be Peacemaker season 2.
Yes, which is the direct follow up to this movie. Which I can't say it's going to be a direct follow up, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be, in my opinion, a follow up to the first Peacemaker show, which is going to somehow.
I also feel like we're going to see Superman in it, if only
Oh,
for a cameo, but maybe even an episode. Yeah, I feel like they are going to be focusing on pulling all of these together.
Yeah. Well, plus, like I
Um,
said, they're gonna somehow explain how the Peacemaker from the original DCEU comes into the DCU,
yeah,
and that's probably gonna be some sort of time travel, multi-dimensional kind of thing, just to kind of, I don't know, quick explanation.
yeah,
uh,
and I'm sure it's going to be accidental, knowing how Peacemaker is.
yeah, he is, as far as I'm concerned, the DC's Deadpool. Even though
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess
think I don't
it's
think
so
that's how
funny
the
too.
character originally is written
Yeah,
in the comics, but
right.
in the
Well,
movies now,
yeah.
that's how he is.
I think that John Cena playing him is that he changed that character like
Yeah,
at a core. Um, he has become so much more off of just what one movie and one TV show,
yeah,
one season of a TV show, and people have loved him,
yes,
and so he's kind of the one that's going to be pushing things forward, uh, making the connection to everything in the past, so that it isn't all just considered nothing.
yeah,
Um, but also, we don't know if Peacemaker's the only one that's going to be coming over,
yeah. That's true. I mean, we don't know if his whole team's coming over, if it's just gonna be him,
or
but
even someone random.
that's true.
I know that they have had fun with the Weasel,
Yeah.
who was also played by Sean Gunn,
Well,
Sean Gunn's
well,
brother. I mean,
Weasel was in Creature Commandos, which that was a
exactly.
sad story. Um,
So yeah, but I'm talking obviously specifically of the Weasel from the previous.
previous universe. Okay.
Yeah, which whatever. They can do anything they want. I'm pretty sure that there was talks about bringing Idris Elba back.
Okay.
Talks again. I have not seen anything confirmed, but I know he had fun
Yeah.
doing that.
I mean, you
So
could play somebody else. I mean, it's a new universe.
yeah, exactly. Or you could play the same character but have a fresh start on it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this situation that they put them in.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, no, we have such a good opening movie. It's visually effective. It keeps you drawn in. Even the scenes that aren't necessarily action, that are discussions about even philosophy, the way you should be doing things versus the way you are doing things, and this, that, and the other. What's the difference between right and wrong? Is there a difference between right and wrong? Are they the same thing, just based on perspective? uh they kind of do a deep dive on things without you really even knowing. It's so easy going. The writing is done well enough that you don't feel like you're being lectured, but at the same time you're learning something.
Yeah. And one thing I did like is how when Lex, showed the world, Kal-El's parents' message, the Justice Gang didn't turn on him right away because they have superpowers too. They are also looked at as, different. So they right away wanted to talk to him first and be like, "Yo, is this true?"
Yeah,
He's like, "The first part, yes. The second part, it's news to
I'm
me."
yeah,
And
exactly. I'm learning this too. Yeah, no, that was good. Especially as much of a dick Guy Gardner's character has been. um he knows Superman.
yeah,
He's fought with him.
he
He's
knows his secret identity.
Yeah, exactly. He sees him as a friend. He sees him as someone that trusted him, so he trusts Superman back.
Or rather, the Justice Gang knows his not necessarily secret identity, because the secret identity is Superman. If you think about it, his secret costume, or you would want to say, is Clark Kent. But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
his alter ego is Clark
yeah,
Kent because
yeah,
he is Superman.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I did like that because it shows that, even though the world was quick to turn on him, the people who knew him did not turn on him
Yeah,
and I thought that it shows character. If you are who you say you are, people will probably give you the benefit of the doubt. Um,
especially if they've seen what you can do or what you are about.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's definitely thought provoking, and which is, heavy lifting for such a light and easy, PG-13 kid friendly Superman movie.
because
You
this
know,
was definitely a more well-rounded movie. It wasn't as dark as the other Superman movies. It was more lighthearted, more fun,
we
and
got more character development, more story, and you know, more just grounded ideology than in
the
this
whole
one movie than all of the DCEU.
DCEU, which it sucks because Zack Snyder, he by
He's
no means,
great at
he,
visual effects. He's
yes, he
great at bringing together a team of people who know what they're doing. I don't want to say they're great actors because I've never cared too much about Gal Gadot's acting.
yeah,
Um, don't get me wrong, her first Wonder Woman movie
it was good.
was fantastic, but it also was like point of view of a stranger coming out of like a completely different world into what we considered our world of World War II, um, and it fit, but she didn't evolve as an actress,
Yeah.
and it's almost like she got dumber by the second movie.
Well,
She was making
I have
dumb
not seen the
decisions.
second movie. It's the only DCU movie that I have not seen.
Yeah, you're not missing too much, other than Pedro Pascal.
Pedro
Although
Pascal.
even in that movie, him as Maxwell Lord, he doesn't have the best motivations in
Hmm.
that movie. It could have been fleshed out or written better or whatever. So I don't blame Pedro Pascal on that. You got to work with what you got. Um, but he was definitely the highlight as far as acting is concerned in that
Okay.
movie. Him and Chris Pine. They brought
Oh
Chris
yeah,
Pine back, even though he died. Um,
great actor.
he is a great actor, and that's I guess the sole reason they wanted to bring
Kirk.
him back.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, no, it's a stark comparison. This one movie versus
the
the
whole
entire
DCU.
DCU. Um, And don't get me wrong, there's plenty in the DCU that I enjoyed.
Same.
I didn't hate Ben Affleck's Batman as much as everyone else seemed to.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I wish there was more to it because you really don't see him do too much. You
yeah,
see him the most in Batman v Superman, which again was a dumb
horrible.
climax of that movie. Um,
The Justice League. I felt like he was just a side character.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was just the guy that brought them together, right?
Yeah,
He didn't really do much beyond that. I know he had some scenes where he's using his gadgets, his vehicles, but yeah, by himself, you're not going to see him getting into a fist fight with Steppenwolf. So
but um, after sidetracking a bit, we're gonna get kind of towards the end of this little discussion here. Basically, I
yeah,
like we
in the story, Superman, while trapped in prison, he
yes.
does talk his way out of his situation, which is kind of the only thing, first of all, that he can do,
Hmm.
given his situation. But he appeals to Metamorpho's uh, better
Humanity.
nature. He, tells him, "Look, I can help you. I will help you. I will help your child." But as soon as the kryptonite is removed, he doesn't realize how much he's been injured by it,
Yeah.
and obviously the sun is not available. It's not a curing point, which is why Metamorpho is such a great character for the situation, because then he creates a little mini sun. He lets
To the best of his
Superman
ability.
he lets Superman recharge, which is, I guess, to the best of his ability, is still enough. I mean, to be able to recharge the world's strongest battery, I guess, is
Yeah.
something. Um, but of course, his son was on the line. So,
Yeah. And
um,
Superman did what he does best. He saves.
saving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he saved his son, he saved him, he saved Crypto, and then he got saved by Lois Lane and Mr. Terrific. They all got
yeah.
saved essentially. And then in doing so, they get out of the little pocket dimension there. And
But
then
the
Lex.
pocket dimension follows them.
Yeah, well, that's mainly because Lex Luthor, he's
Being a
got nothing
dick.
left. He's got
Yeah.
nothing left, so he's going for broke, and yeah, he breaks it. And he doesn't care. He just wants to win at this point. So it doesn't matter how many lives he destroys. He just wants Superman to pay. And the Earth is basically splitting into this giant void, which is the pocket dimension. You know, people are running for their lives, trying to get out into a safe area. Superheroes are doing what they can to help. Lex, basically has a chance to stop it, decides, no, I'm not going to do it. His building gets destroyed. His, his little tower turns into a ship,
Because why
conveniently
wouldn't
enough. Yeah, he's
it?
prepared. He's like the evil Batman, if you want to consider it like
Yeah.
that. He
Yeah.
pretty much is, except he's Superman's nemesis. He's not, the Joker. So,
Well, you know what? If Lex wasn't Superman's nemesis, I guess Batman would be, right?
yeah, you'd think so
It,
because
it,
they're on the same level.
yeah, they're on the same level. They're just lucky that they agree with the whole justice thing,
Yeah. I mean, I
right?
gotta say that as far as smarts go, Lex is smarter than Bruce
Oh
for
yeah,
sure. Because technically Lucius helps him out a lot. But yeah, so we have this big climactic battle going on. Superman tries to take down Lex. Even one of Lex's people is like, "Yo, I can shut it off," and Lex is like, "No."
yeah, yeah.
And then Superman ends up fighting Ultraman, and with the whole I want to call it battleship kind of what would you call it? Um fighting, not battleship fighting, like battleship controls, like B1, B2, like just telling Ultraman how to
Oh,
fight.
his
Be-
commands,
yeah,
yeah.
because Lex
Because,
knows how Superman fights. He
but also Ultraman, being who he is, a clone of Superman, as it is revealed,
Yeah.
um, he he's basically brain dead. He just follows commands. That's all
Yeah.
he really has going for him. So it's almost necessary to. So yeah, he just follows literal key commands in order to fight, and
Yeah.
without it, he's nothing.
And it gets to where Superman might lose, and then, I can't remember exactly what happens. Does Mr. Terrific help him?
Crypto,
Or Crypto, yeah, comes and helps him. That's right. Saves him at the
yeah.
last moment. And then Superman, I believe, rips off his mask. Or no, that's probably before that. But either
It's
way,
during that
yeah,
during
during
that
that,
scene. Yeah,
they basically end up getting Ultraman into the pocket dimension.
it's kind of
And
like a wormhole of sort.
yeah,
There is theories that he is going to be Bizarro. He will return as Bizarro at some point. Honestly, I think it's a possibility. I feel like that's one of their let's keep that in the back pocket and see where we
yeah.
go.
I just
It's
think
not
it's
their
weird.
main focus. It will just be something that they'll have, wild card if
Yeah,
they need
when
to
they
pull it.
decide to do the Legion of Doom, because that's probably
Yeah,
what's going to happen in the next couple movies. They're probably going to be like, all right, the Justice Gang is now the Justice League, so the bad guys need their own, which would be the Legion of Doom. But as far as the Bizarro thing goes, I think it'd be kind of weird because if I remember correctly, Bizarro comes from Bizarro World, which could be a world in that whole pocket dimension if they do it like that, and maybe he gets disfigured from the whole closing of the pocket dimension and all that. And the only thing that makes no sense to me about that is that I don't think we ever heard the clone speak at all. And Bizarro is he does speak, but he's very like dumbed down. He's like
yeah. Well, again,
Bizarro this,
there's going to be
Bizarro that.
time. He could eventually become Bizarro, but like I said, it's neither here and there. it's one of those things that I feel like they're just going to keep in their back pocket and only use after there's more development towards that storyline, where they can fall back on it, and then also B, it depends on where they actually even plan to go next.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit, literally, at this point, since they've started over. They've got new cast. They're gonna be focusing on bringing new people in first.
Yeah.
Um, so really, we're just going to be looking at a smaller style of movies before it starts expanding and
Yeah.
expanding and becoming more grandiose and having much bigger groups of villains and so on and so forth. So yeah, hopefully by the time that they do that, though, they don't fall into the same pitfalls that Marvel have. They have that great initial group of Avengers, and then when they get to Thanos, where again it's like a big group versus a big group, it's like, where do you go from there? Oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to blip some people out. We're gonna have to slow things down, bring things back a bit, because they realized they were getting too big. So hopefully, it's something that becomes way more grounded.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well,
time will tell.
a couple of things here. Um, One thing I really liked about David Cornsweet, I don't know about you. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but I really got when some of the funny scenes and some of his mannerisms, he reminded me a lot of Brendan Fraser. And
Yeah,
Brendan Fraser is, I feel
in his
sorry for
prime.
him. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel sorry for Brendan Fraser of what he had to go through, but he's making his comeback. I wish him the best, but I kind of see like David as like the new kind of uh
Funny
yeah,
action star kind of guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed him as Superman, and I endorse him. He gets my endorsement as Superman.
Yeah, for sure.
I did want to say that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I feel like they've really taken a step in the right direction with this cast, with this story, this setup. There are a lot of places it could go wrong. They could just go all out, bring too much in. That's kind of where Sony went off the rails when they were started with Venom, was very small when it was just Venom, and they were like, oh, we're gonna bring in all of these villains, we're gonna have this villain universe, and then we'll probably bring it into a Spider-Man movie, and then it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
um so hopefully they try to keep this momentum going and just stick with what they've got. They broke through most people's initial expectations.
Yeah.
That they weren't. I mean, some people had high expectations. A lot of people are DC fans. That like I said, we've got the Coke versus Pepsi thing when it comes to DC and Marvel. I've always been pro both.
Yeah.
I've never really hated one. I like beyond Marvel and DC. It doesn't necessarily. I don't care about companies. I care about
Yeah.
the characters and the stories that they bring.
Yes.
So there are struggles, especially when it gets super corporate. But if you're only into Marvel and you find yourself being able to watch this and you enjoy it, don't hate on it because it's DC. Don't push yourself further away. Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Um,
It's Superman, first of all, Superman is a hard character to get right
yeah.
on so
Oh,
many
for
levels
sure.
because
That,
he's
that,
very hard to identify with because he is Superman. He is not a human who becomes super. He is just super. That
Yeah,
is
I think
him.
that was the key, right? Was making him as human
Relatable.
as possible,
Yeah.
so he's relatable. Because the big problem most people had as Superman as a figure is that, oh well, if no one can beat him, then why should we care? Why should we follow him? Why should we care for him? He's always going to be up top. Well, that's not necessarily true. And then
Yeah.
he has his morals that hold him back. He literally walked into prison. He
Yeah.
wasn't taken against by force. He walked in. because he knows that there is a process. If he wants to be trusted, he has to trust the process.
Yeah.
Obviously, the process was abused by
Rigged.
Lex,
Yeah.
but again, that's going to be something he can learn from.
Yep.
And as long as he learns from it, if we keep seeing him in the same position every movie and he keeps making the same stupid mistakes, then again, that's one of those negatives that could occur. Um, but if we follow him and he learns from his mistakes, or he gets just duped in different ways, then A, that's good writing, and B, we can continue to follow and care and root for him.
Yeah.
Because why would you root for someone who's just overpowered? I think that was the Captain Marvel problem.
Yeah.
Um, she wasn't necessarily very likable.
Yeah. It's hard to
He
like
Yeah,
somebody who themselves think that they're infallible.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is, kind of what a lot of people are saying about Supergirl next. The
Yeah.
only thing we've seen of her is her drunk.
Yeah.
So we
So
have no idea
so
how
by
she really is.
by the end of the movie, to wrap everything up with a bow, Lex is taken to jail or whatever. Superman is kind of, you know, kind of like the people as of right now trust him again. Um, Everybody's all hunky dory, kind of happy thing, and we get several hints throughout the movie about Crypto, and we find out Crypto is not Superman's dog; it's his cousin's dog. And Millie Alcock comes in towards the end as Zara Zor-El, and just kind of stumbles in drunk. We get a quick explanation because she went to go party where there's a red sun or something like that, so she could get drunk because she can't on Earth. And then she just disappears, and it just kind of shows you like her and Kal-El are totally different.
But we also don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
we don't necessarily know that she went just to party. She could have been going there to resolve something. I'm sure we'll learn more as we watch her. Was it movie or show?
movie. It's gonna be a
Movie.
movie.
Yeah. So we'll learn more, I'm sure, and there's got to be more to it than I just wanted to go party. It could just be what she's telling her younger cousin.
Yeah,
You know, because again, we have to remember that she technically is older,
yeah,
um, and she could look at him as a child.
yeah,
Uh, so it's one of those things that we don't know if we've got if she may not be being upfront with him, so therefore as an audience she's not being upfront with us. We don't know you know what her actual personality is. We don't know what the circumstances were, so all we truly know is what she looks like. That's
yeah.
it.
I mean,
And
that's
that's
the thing
being really
too.
her dog.
Like you said, she could have been acting drunk. She could have just gone to do something, and you came back and be like, "Yeah, it's like it's all a act just to
Well,
like."
I being that it's James Gunn, I feel like it's more of a comic thing. It's
Yeah,
she went to do something serious, but because it's a red sun and because that's the effect it has, that could be one of those, drawbacks, just something that she has that is affecting her and her ability to do things. It's something that's more of a comic relief that we will eventually see. So we don't know, but with James Gunn, it could be anything.
yeah. I mean, and at least they put that little cameo in there just to kind of be like quickly establish this character. We kind of know what she was doing during the events of this movie because he could have definitely used her help. Um,
Right? Yeah.
and it's just enough setup so we get an idea who she is. We know we'll most likely see her again, and then we kind of end the movie, and we get to the uh well, I guess the post credit scenes weren't really needed. I mean, James Gunn went on, I think he said that he's not going to do the post credit scenes like Marvel does. He doesn't want to necessarily make people have to do homework like you said before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so they were just fun little scenes. The first one was just him and Crypto hanging out in the moon.
Yeah.
And then the second one was just a funny little joke. It was more of just a small little back and forth between Superman and Mr. Terrific, who was putting the buildings back together after they've been torn apart by the pocket universe seeping through, and um, it's not quite perfect. It's
Yeah.
not quite perfectly aligned, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's a little off." And Mr. Trevor's like, "Hey, that was hard to do. Okay, you try doing it." It walks off, and
And
Superman's like, "Oh
I'm a
man,
dick.
I can be a dick sometimes."
Which is great. Which goes back to what I said. He reminds me, and he has a kind of mannerisms,
Mannerisms.
and just like kind of like if you look hard enough, you can kind of see a little facial features of Brendan Fraser. So he is Brendan Fraser reincarnate.
Well, it could just be one of those things that was his inspiration to the character.
Yeah.
I know that James Gunn was repeatedly telling him, uh, "Don't be Henry Cavill. Don't be
Yeah.
Henry Cavill. Don't be Henry Cavill." So he obviously went through, an entire ordeal trying to figure out who this character is going to be.
Yeah.
So it's quite possible we may eventually hear an interview where he's like, "Well, I'm really a big fan of the Mummy series back when I was a kid, and uh,
Surprise.
yeah." So it there's, I mean, just look at the Heath Ledger's Joker. We later learned that he was based off of someone else in an entirely different movie, and you can
From a
see
long
that,
time ago.
yeah, he used damn near exactly the same performance. He was just acting as someone else acting as the Joker, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it's one of those things that we may learn later on down the road exactly what his inspiration was, and it might not be off on your assessment there.
Yeah. Um so we've talked a lot here. We've been doing this for over an hour, and I want to get down to business, brass tacks. Has your rating for this movie changed?
No, I want to say it's still an 8. I think the reason that it's, not any higher is more or less down to the flow of the end. The end felt a little rushed. It's possible that there were scenes taken out or something like that. I also feel like um, there was some missteps around Lex. Obviously, the people who were with him were the ones technically in control. They were the ones
Yeah.
controlling everything. They said that they could have ended that. Like it kind of reminds me of those old 007 movies where when 007 like he always sets off some kind of self-destruct in some whatever facility they're in, and he's fighting his way out, and you're like, why are the people there fighting him? Why aren't they running for their lives? Why are they still trying to stop him when the whole facility is about to blow up?
Yeah, because they're gonna go
It's
with it
like,
too.
yeah, it's like, why not help him? Like, hey, you clearly did this. I'm gonna go with you because clearly you are going to make your way out. Um, it's always been one of those big issues. So it's like, oh, you're just going to destroy the planet we live on, the city we live in. Why there's more of us. We can overpower you. Why don't we just stop this right here,
Yeah.
right now?
Which
Yeah,
goes
you
back to
may
the
be
one
a
guy who has a conscience. He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then Lex was like, "No, shut up."
yeah. It just, I felt like, there's certain things that just wouldn't happen in real life. Not that, comparing, you know, man in tights and shooting lasers out of his eyes is as close to real life as it gets, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's just one of those things that kind of take you back for a minute and go, I don't think those people would have acted that way.
I agree with you. So you stand at 8.
Yeah, I stand at an 8.
Um, I too. I'm gonna stand with my decision at 8. Also, kind of the same as you, for the ending there, although you said it felt rushed, for me, it just felt predictable. Like,
It did feel
the big
well. I
reveal.
think that was the issue, right? Is
Yeah.
like Lex is predictably going to do what Lex wants to do,
Yeah.
and he wants to hurt Superman no matter the cost. Or he's leaving the pocket dimension do its thing to hide his escape or whatever. And that's again very villain 101, very predictable. And then of course Superman has to figure his way around that or use his friends' abilities to help him or whatever, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah,
um
for me, it was the whole Ultraman thing. It's like, yeah, I bet this
yeah,
is a clone of Superman, and they like, yeah, it's a clone of Superman.
yeah.
So,
And
it was
how did he get a clone of Superman? Oh, he found a hair, which
hair.
is very reminiscent of the worst Superman movie, of the original Christopher Reeve movies, number 4.
Yeah,
um and But yeah, he found a hair, and that's how he was able to gain access to the Fortress of Solitude. We kind of There were little hints that
yeah, throughout the whole
this is
movie.
where this is going. So I mean, while it's nice to put in foreshadowing for certain things, it shouldn't be so predictable that you just know how the movie's going to end.
Yeah. So, with that said, this has kind of been our little breakdown slash review of this for this episode here of the podcast. Um, that's pretty much what we wanted to touch on. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back again soon. If you guys don't know us, we are Plot Hole Productions. You can check us out on Instagram and on YouTube. Uh, so don't be shy. Say hi. And with that, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Oh yeah, I'm your host Nate Slater,
And I'm Chris Sambrook
and we'll catch you in
in
the
the void.
void.